video brought to you by Not Enough Sleep, apparently.
Hey friends, welcome back to the shop. This episode is going to be fueled by motivation and on Dana's part, a little bit of monster rehab because we are just tired from the day-to-day project we're doing. But we got to get this lift freed up for, we'll just say Murphy's Law kicking in with Project Harold. So part of that to get Clara off is we got to get these brakes done. So in this episode we are actually tackling the rear brakes as a part of the Streeter Track full disc brake conversion kit. In the next episode we'll do the front, but these strictly just the rear to make this shorter and a little more interesting as well. So, are you ready?
I don't know. Are we interesting enough?
That's questionable for sure. So let's dive into the table of goodies and show you what all comes in the rear brake kit. Well, the very important piece to this are the instructions. And Sean does a great job with all of his kits on actually giving everything that you potentially need, from a breakdown to include color photos.
Ooh.
All right, with this being a disc brake conversion, the rear does have a kind of a combo disc as well as drum, where you've got your typical shoes from a drum, and then the brake calipers for the rotor and disc will go over this. So this is the bracket kit that comes fully assembled. We have our steel braided hoses as well as our parking brake cables. All right, and we have our rotor hat all slotted. What?
Hat.
Yeah, it's called a hat. You know, like a top hat, you know.
Yeah, put it on your head.
And much hardware to include the rotor hat adapter plate, our new back plate retainer plate. We'll show you why we have to actually use this. And then of course our last and most important piece are the calipers. With the pads, everything is already assembled, ready to just slide right onto the rotor. Now early on when we were tearing everything down for Clara, we knew that we were going to do a disc brake conversion. So early we pulled all the old brake components, the drums off, tossed all of that stuff. However, we did not know at that one time that we were going to have to make one step further as far as a modification in order for the new brake setup to go. So let me go ahead and show you what we have to take off now. So this retaining plate we actually have to cut off. So we're going to pull the full axle back out and then take a cut-off wheel to it. All right, a couple of cuts later and we're done. All right, with our axle out, we're going to go ahead and put on our brake kit. And then go ahead and slide it back in to the housing. Find the magic hole. Get it all the way back in the housing. All right, next step. There is a left and right side to these. So caliper brackets are going to be in the rear. So make sure that you're paying attention to that based on what side that you're putting that in. So if you're lucky enough to have the original T-bolts that came off of the backing plates, then you can definitely go ahead and reuse those. And I highly suggest it. But for us, I had planned on buying all new when we stripped everything down. However, now when I'm getting to this point of replacing it, I see how expensive those bolts are. And I've decided not to actually pay that high price. But I did go out and inquire with a bunch of other Mustang owners that do these, and they said it would be okay to go ahead and move to grade 8 bolts, but go with the 24 fine thread ones. So these are the 3/8. We're going to put thread locker on them. I've got the locking washers and the nylon nuts to go on there to be able to button everything up. All right, now that we've got these snug, we're going to go ahead and torque these down. It does say torque it down to your OEM specs. For ours, we're going to go with 30 foot-pounds. Got it?
I think so.
Okay, move to the top. All right.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
And I helped.
Next, our little adapter is going to go right over the cap here with the raised side facing out. Would you like to grab the rotor hat? And these are all marked left and right as well.
Well, let's find the correct holes.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Well, don't stick it in the wrong one.
All right, you're not all the way on.
Okay, well.
You're not all the way in. There you go. Now you're all the way in.
That's definitely what she said.
All right, next step is to put our caliper on. We're going to attach it to the points that we called out earlier using the hardware in the bag. Be sure to follow the instructions in regards to the spacers that's required for your particular vehicle and how these bolts are supposed to look once they're actually seated. All right, for the calipers, when you're getting them on, once you've identified how many spacers that you need, everything fits the way that it's supposed to. Before you torque them down, pull that bolt back out and apply some thread locker to it. Then you're free to go ahead and torque it down to the 40 foot-pounds that they recommend. All right, next was to go ahead and mount our L bracket using the band with the kit. I chose to mount it here on the back side in this location so I can leverage the factory brake line holder. We'll basically run that in, and then we'll use the supplied clips to hold it there in place. All right, for this kit, your distribution block is actually going to go up over your rear end ventilation tube. Now, depending upon which one you have, may or may not fit this, as I discovered. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is the one that we had in our Ford 9-inch rear end, and it just will not work together in order to be able to screw into the rear end. So I ordered this one by Dorman, actually on Amazon. So it actually gives us clearance we need in order to be able to screw down into it, and then we got more with the locking washer once that's crushed down. Okay, so this is how it looks once it's tightened down. Of course, once we get our hard lines ran, this may actually change just a little bit, but at least this kind of gives you a visual.
Okay, rear brakes are on and as far as they're going to be right now. Now, we do not have the original hard lines on the car. We scrapped all of that, so we need to go ahead and get those remade at the appropriate time. And we do not have our exhaust in, so we want to make sure that we have that all taken place before we actually put in our parking brake lines.
Well, we're also missing the other end of the parking brake components. We do not have the pedal to attach it to.
Yeah.
So
yeah. All things that we pulled out when we were really taking the car down to the shell. So when we reach that point of putting that back in the car and attaching a parking cable to it,
well, then we'll have stopping power.
yeah, and exhaust and a motor and every damn thing else.
Maybe it'll be able to go and stop.
We hope. We hope. So that'll be something that we'll add on way down the line. But thankfully, with this kit, everything is there. We've got it. We'll just put it on a shelf with the other 1,000 parts that are there.
Clearly labeled.
Yes, clearly labeled. Yes. So now, onto the front of the car.
Woohoo!
Yes, we're going to knock those out so we can get Clara off the lift. But hey, if this video was somewhat entertaining or even just helpful to you, be sure to smash that like button. Let us know. We certainly appreciate you following along on the build and the journey. And text us. Yeah.
Text him. Leave me alone.
Until next episode, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you then. Bye.